New day, new lighting, and I decided that for these types of videos I would use this angle right here because I'm just basically talking to the camera. So today's topic is there a right way to make music? So if you're not familiar, there are already things in place such as music theory and audio engineering. So these things are like the basic rules, but the thing with music is that it is also an art, right? So you can't just have like a mathematical formula and make a song. You still have to have some like creative input in it, right? So the first thing that I want to touch on is that if you're a beginner, then you should definitely abide by the regular rules such as scales, proper like compressor techniques and EQ techniques to learn like the fundamentals of just making music in general. If you want to do pretty much everything like I do from scratch, like start to finish, like make a song or whatever, you want to learn how to make like a clean mix and also like just good melodies. But once you get out of the super basic, that's when you start getting creative and start doing like whatever you want and kind of adding more techniques on top of more techniques and just different styles, creating a certain sound that you want specifically. But then all of this kind of is in the range of this is the right way of making music. But the question of the video is there a right way to make music? Well, a lot of artists that I've listened to in the past, usually what makes them unique is that they take something already established and they kind of break the rule and make something sound purposely bad, but it sounds good because you know that it's done on purpose to have a certain artistic style that just kind of revamps the entire music sphere, if you want. Examples of this would be like, you know, rappers like Ski Mask or XXX Tentacion. Their music at the beginning when they started releasing things, I don't know if they were beginners or not because you don't know what they were doing before, if they were actually just making music. When they came out and they blew up, they did something that was completely different, which was turning up that compression on the bass and just distorting the shit out of it. Also just, I guess, saturating it as well. They would master their songs bad on purpose to have a certain aesthetic, which was not the normal at the time. But nowadays everyone can do it and everyone understands that if you do it on purpose, then like it's an artistic choice if you want, right? So you kind of have to take whatever it is that you want and really push it in a certain direction and try to make it stick. But in general, what happens is that if you want to break the rules, only take like one or two things at most and break them, and then the rest kind of like make it like the right way of making music. And if you don't want to do any of that, then you can just stick with like pop, right? Pop is like the regular, most basic form of music. You have your chords, you have your melody, you have your bridges, you have that. And it's just what the majority of people tend to listen to, especially when they're, I guess, exposed to music for the first time. Like kids will tend to like that shit more because they just hear like grooves and they're like, oh my god, it sounds amazing. So at the end of the day, there is no right way of making music. So the best advice I can give you if you're not a beginner anymore, because I know this is a problem for a lot of beginners when producers say, if it sounds good, it sounds good, but a lot of beginners don't know what sounds good. If you know that you are breaking a music rule and you're intentionally doing it for an artistic purpose, you know what you did. And if it sounds good at the end, if it still sounds good, then it sounds good, right? But for beginners, I would say that don't even just disregard everything I said in this video and start with the basics, unless you know what you're already doing and break whatever rules you want to break, right? Because technically, there is no rules in music. There are only theories that kind of make the general consensus. So what basically pop music is today, and pop music is just like a combination of different genres, different styles of music, and all put into one to form the most like comprehensive basic thing. So obviously I produce hip hop beats and they usually tend to not have as many like bridges if you want, because pop music tends to have a lot more bridges. And I would say that in hip hop there's a lot less chords as well. Not to say that there are no chords at all, but like a lot of producers tend to not use chords, especially in today's hip hop. There's a lot of just bass going on, and I'm kind of like on that same wave where, because I create my own bass sounds, I like to have that at the forefront of my beats. But there is no right way, right? You can, for example, to Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick took jazz and he incorporated it with hip hop beats and it made a cool ass album, right? So the entire point of this video, if you're still here, is that there is no right way of making music. but there's also a right way of making music. In my opinion, break the rules you want, but if it sounds good, it sounds good. And if you don't know what you're doing, start with the basics and then move and start breaking the rules that you already know. That's how you get creative. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more music production content, check out my beats and my music in the description down below. My name is Tiny, and as always, I'm signing out.